Hi, I'm Sergio Morales. I am the owner of the YouTube channel The Sergio Show, and what you are about to watch is a animated video I made called From Indy to Seoul. From Indy to Seoul was the first animated video of any kind that I had created. This was just a part of a little experiment because I did take up an interest in animation back in 2023 and just wanted to tell a good story. And in this case, that story is how racing, of all things, led me to become a BTS Army between 2017 and 2020. As of when I'm filming this little clip, March 30th, 2025, this will be my 5th year as a BTS Army. So take that as you will. But here's my little token of celebration in regards to that anniversary. So here it is now on the Sergio Show. I hope you enjoy.
November 28, 2021, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. This stadium has quickly become renowned all over the world for hosting big events like the Super Bowl, WrestleMania, FIFA World Cup matches in 2026, and a lot more. It's even hosted a game from Mr. Beast. It also contains a lake that is probably made from the tears of us NFL bandwagoners. But if tears were going to be shed on this night, they were going to be of joy most likely, because on November 28, 2021, the stadium looked like this. Yeah, that night was something else, and I'm privileged to say I was a part of it. But how do I all of a sudden become a K-pop fan, much less a BTS Army? Well, kick your feet up, stay a while, because I have a story to tell you. May 28, 2017, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The whole world is watching as the 101st Indianapolis 500 is taking place, with the final battle coming down to just two drivers, Brazilian driver Elio Castroneves and Japanese driver Takuma Sato. For Elio, this would mark an historic 4th Indianapolis 500 victory if he were to grab it. Adding more significance to this theoretical victory would be his escape from Scott Dixon's failed flying lessons early on in the race. For Takuma Sato, however, if he were to win the race, it would be the first time that an Asian-born driver wins the Indy 500. And so, after an incredible duel that lasted the last 7 laps of the race, it all came down to one lap to see who won it all.
The one that got away comes back to him. Checkered flag is in the air, and the 101st Indianapolis 500 is won by Takuma Sato.
So Takuma Sato wins the day, and me pulling for Elio Castroneves that day, I'm left to wonder what could have been. That said, the number 26 camp was celebrating as Takuma Sato became the first Asian driver to win the Indy 500. Smiles all around. So I go and tell a friend who's super into Japanese culture, and they tell me about a boy band, a group of 7 more specifically, who had just won an award. Now up till this point, I didn't even recognize that these people existed. All I knew was that they had a strange letter combination, and the people at my school just couldn't stop talking about them. Something about, I think it was STP, BMW, MLS, TBS, BTS? Ah, sweet. Well, let's look them up, shall we? Because surely they've done something to deserve the award, right? I mean, I guess they appeal to maybe 15-year-old girls, I presume, so hey, it works. Yeah, I pretty much had the same reaction that everyone else has when they first hear of BTS, that they appeal to only teenage girls and their music is pretty darn trash, despite never having heard one song from them. And I carried that mentality throughout the rest of 2017 through to 2018. So it's 2018, I developed a new special interest in penguins, this song just dropped, and Formula E's logo was being bashed. Look, times were good, alright? So there wasn't too much to talk about, until that aforementioned group of 7 decided to announce a whole new tour. And you guessed it, that was the talk of the whole town, especially because they were coming to Los Angeles pretty soon. So BTS Mania has finally caught up to Los Angeles, and that's when I finally think to myself, Okay, fine, let's do this. One song. Just one song to see if they're actually worth the hype. One song, huh? Yeah, what have I done? Alright, well, let's see here. What's a good song to start with? Hey, this one looks interesting. Alright, I'll admit, that song was actually pretty good. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly was entertaining, so let's see, what else Hold on. Steve Aoki remix? Is my mind reading that correctly? You're telling me that Steve Aoki himself actually went and made a remix to a song from BTS? I mean, it's gotta be at least just as good, or maybe even better. Now, the name Steve Aoki definitely caught my attention because I've been a fan of electronic dance music since 2015, and Steve Aoki generally produces EDM, as well as my all-time favorite artist, the GOAT himself, Tiesto.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
You know what? I might as well listen to it. I'm already here, so let's just give it a whirl. Nah, fam, that was way too good. That was honestly really, really good. I knew it was going to be good already because of the original was actually pretty good, and then Steve Aoki was involved in the remix. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, alright? So, I'll give them that. They actually have a very, very good song. But they've only got one, so yeah. So now it's 2019, and just like 2018, there's not much to report at first. I mean, yeah, BTS did sell out the Rose Bowl a couple of times, which that's no small feat by any means, but it's not like I cared because I didn't even realize that it happened. After one song, or two more specifically, I kind of forgot that they existed. And it's not like they really did anything to really capture my attention again.
Let the lights go green for a race like mine. With as much to race, far off the track.
What? What? BTS and Formula E? Dude, this is really cool now. I actually signed me up for this. This is actually really cool. On a brief side note, Formula E is actually one of the fastest growing motorsports out there, and there is good reason for that.
Oh, yeah. You went on inside. Dad!
J'ai plus d'énergie! J'ai plus d'énergie!
Flat all the way.
Oh no! Push, 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 push! Yes! Yes! Great! Great!
Oh, he's hit him! The two go side by side! Oh, he's hit him! I don't believe it! The two champions! What are you doing? They hit each other! The contest in the wall and the lead is gone!
Yeah, if you haven't watched Formula E yet, definitely check it out after this video. Anyway, this BTS Formula E collab definitely caught my attention. And they have it for quite a while now because, I mean, this is a racing series. And BTS, honestly, that's just kind of a dream collab that I never saw coming. It was completely out of the blue. It also made me start to think, would BTS suddenly start dancing in race car suits? Yes, hello? Yeah? They already have? Send me the MV then! Got it, I gotta check it out now. Alright, I'll admit, that MV was actually freaking bananas. But there was one scene that stood out, and it was this one. That was actually pretty darn cool. I didn't even realize that they had actually danced in race car suits before. As for the song itself, well, it was fire actually. Another one? Alright, once again, it seems like BTS have another great song up their sleeves. Not gonna lie to you, this list is actually growing a bit. You can kind of see where this is going now, can't you? So there I was, hungry for some more good BTS music. The great news is, I wasn't gonna have to wait too long before I expanded the list.
Lightning round.
Going into 2020, BTS Mania was at an all-time high. Not only because they were about to drop arguably their biggest album yet, but also because they were gonna go on another tour. Now by this point, I knew who they were, and I knew they were coming to LA, and I knew of the album. So I thought, why not? Let's give it a whirl, see what happens. So what did happen? Well, fans got tickets to a tour that wouldn't happen because of an uninvited guest. But hey, on the bright side, all that indoors time meant I got a little extra time to listen to that brand new album that was so hyped up. Now, of all the songs in the album, the last two definitely stood out the most. Those being Ego and We Are Bulletproof the Eternal. Let's talk about Ego briefly. It turns out that the same guy who danced in a race car suit in the Dope MV earlier, well, he also wrote this song. Little bit of research and, So I found out that dude is actually J-Hope, and I decided he's a true GOAT for that shit. As for We Are Bulletproof the Eternal, well, to a lot of armies, this song is supposed to be like the ultimate love letter, which I can understand, especially after having read the lyrics in English, admittedly, because my Korean is not perfect. However, the first time I heard this song, especially when the beat dropped, I had to pause for a second because that style of music sounded awfully familiar to me. So I look at the credits of the song, and it turns out this guy was involved in producing the song. Now this guy is Nathaniel Rathbun, better known as Audien, and he's responsible for some of the best electronic dance music songs ever written, and including some that actually got me into the category of music in the first place. Like these. To me, those two songs definitely stood out the most. It felt like a great combination of both worlds, of BTS and of electronic dance music coming together and actually making great music overall. And this type of music would be exactly what got me to crack. Only it wasn't either of those two songs that broke me. It was this one instead. The day is March 30th, and I had just listened to Idol for the first time, and I thought to myself, that overall was a great song. We're definitely making progress over here. Progress that only a few minutes later would be more than enough to finally get me to crack. This remix right over here was perfectly along the lines of what I generally listen to. Remember how I mentioned I love EDM? Well, this is an EDM song that again is right along the lines of my general music taste overall. And so, after hearing that song just one time, I finally conceded. To BTS and to the armies, you win. But our story doesn't end here. I still have more to tell you. And what better way to conclude this story than going right back where it all started?
This is the Indianapolis 500 for everybody to see. Ready right here.
The 105th running of the Indianapolis 500 took place on May 30th, 2021, just the very next weekend after Butter releases. And in the closing stages of the race, Helio Castroneves found himself once again on the cusp of his 4th Indy 500 victory. Just a year prior, on the same weekend that Dynamite released, Takuma Sato won his 2nd Indy 500 victory. The same guy who won in 2017 that kicked off this whole cascade of events would win again in 2020, but his rival from that victory has yet to win his 4th Indy 500 victory. Was today finally the day?
Helio Castroneves with a strong run off of turn number 4. They are snaking their way down the straightaway. Helio to the high side in turn number 1. Voigt, Unser, Mears, and maybe Castroneves.
Now, Helio had been here before, leading in the closing laps of the Indy 500. Had it not been for him losing in 2017, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you the story that I just did. But Helio stands once again on the cusp of victory, of a record-tying 4th Indy 500 victory. Everyone sat there wondering, is it Spider-Man's day at last? Is the Dancing King about to dance his way into history? Well, on May 30th, 2021, I could finally say that I brought this entire story full circle.
Kinds of traffic now as they work their way into turn number 4, but it's Helio Castroneves behind Ryan Hunter-Reay, trying to hold up Alex Palou. Castroneves looking for number 4, Chris.
A 2-car length advantage. Helio Castroneves trying to become a 4-time winner out of turn 4. Off turn 4 for the final time. Helio Castroneves comes to the start-finish line. Twin checkers out, and then there were 4. Helio Castroneves joins the 4-time winners club. He wins the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
After years of wondering, will he, won't he, Helio Castroneves had sealed himself into history, winning a 4th Indianapolis 500. But for me, it goes beyond just an historic Indy 500 victory. It's the moment that brings my whole K-pop origin story full circle. A story full of unlikely triumphs, of proving me wrong several times. And at the end of it all, one of the greatest moments in any 21st century car race. Now isn't that something? The Indy 500 leads me to join a fan base where I make new friends, develop a new music taste, and learn that I never walk alone. Race fans and K-pop fans share one thing in common. Whether it's a driver making an historic victory or a group of 7 taking over the world, we'll always be walking with them no matter what.